Howdy! Chapter 6 is a journey from platform 9 3/4. And now I have, for the first time, a little task for you. If you want, please fetch up yourself or take yourself a little cake because we make a pause when the snack trolley comes. So you see, I start to build up my Hogwarts dream team. hmm So when I have the feeling I get hurt of somebody's watching me. I don't know why. So now I make it a bit shorter. I jump over the beginning. Harry is in a little Winnington again. Ask his uncle if he would give him a lift to King's Cross station in London, and uncle makes yeah, and they're on the station, yeah, and uncle said, "Well, there you are, boy. Platform 9, platform 10. Your platform should be somewhere in the middle, but they don't seem to have built it yet, do they?" He was quite right, of course. There was a big plastic number 9 over one platform and a big plastic number 10 over the one next to it, and in the middle, nothing at all. "Have a good term," said Uncle Vernon with an even nastier smile. He left without another word. Harry turned and saw the Dursleys drive away. All three of them were laughing. Harry's mouth went rather dry. What on earth was he going to do? He was starting to attract a lot of funny looks because of Hedwig. He'd have to ask someone. He asked a station man and a worker and so on. And suddenly, and at the moment, a group of people passed just behind him, and he caught a few words of what they were saying. Ah, packed with muggles, of course. Harry swung around. The speaker was so I don't like the word plump. I say a little. The speaker was a little woman who was talking to four boys, all with flaming red hair. Each of them was pushing a trunk like Harry's in front of him, and they had an owl. He heard hammering. Harry pushed his trolley after them. They stopped, and so did he, just near enough to hear what they were saying. "Ah, now, what's the platform number?" said the boy's mother. 9 3/4, piped a small girl, also heated, who was holding a hand. "Mom, can't I go?" "You are not old enough, Ginny. Now be quiet." "All right, Percy, you go first." What looked like the oldest boy marched towards platform 9 and 10. Harry watched it, careful not to blink in case he missed it. But just as the boy reached the divide between the two platforms, a large crowd of tourists came swarming in front of him, and by the time the last, here say stand the German word Rucksack, I mean you say rucksack, no? And by the time the last rucksack had cleared away, the boy had vanished. "Fred, you're the next," the little woman said. "I'm not Fred, I'm George," said the boy. "Honestly, woman, call yourself our mother. Can you tell I'm George?" "Oh, so sorry, George, dear." "Only joking, I'm Fred," said the boy, and off he went. His twin called after him to hurry up, and he must have done, because a second later he had gone. But how had he done it? Now the third brother was walking briskly towards the ticket barrier. He was almost there, and then, quite suddenly, he wasn't anywhere. There was nothing else for it. Harry said to the little woman, "Excuse me." "Ah, Hona, dear," she said. "First time at Hogwarts? Ron's new too." She pointed at the last and youngest of her sons. He was tall, thin, and gangling with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. "Yes," said Harry. The thing is, I don't know how to get on to the platform." she said kindly, and Harry nodded. Oh, not worry. All you have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platform 9 and 10. Don't stop and don't be scared. You will crash into it. That's very important. Best do it at a bit of a run if you're nervous. Go on. Go now before Ron. Uh, okay, said Harry. He pushed his trolley round and stared at the barrier. It looked very solid or solid. He started to walk toward it. People jostled him on their way just jostled him on their way to platform 9 and 10. Harry walked more quickly. He was going to smash right into the ticket box and then he'd be in trouble. Leaning forward on his trolley, he broke into a heavy run. The barrier was coming nearer and nearer. He wouldn't be able to stop. The trolley was out of control. He was a foot away. He closed his eyes, ready for the crash. It didn't come. He kept on running. He opened his eyes. His eyes. A scarlet steam engine was waiting next to a platform packed with people. A sign overhead said Hogwarts Express, 11 o'clock. Harry looked behind him and saw a rogue iron archway where the ticket box had been with the words platform 9 3/4 on it. He had done it. Smoke from the engine drifted over the heads of the chattering crowd, while cats of every color wound here and there between their legs. Owls hooted to each other in a disgruntled sort of way over the babble and the scraping of heavy trunks. The first few carriages were already packed with students, some hanging out of the window to talk to their families, some fighting over seats. Harry pushed his trolley off down the platform in search of an empty seat. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, "Oh, Grant, I've lost my toad again." "Ah, Neville," he heard the old woman sigh. A boy with street locks was surrounded by a small crowd, and the crowd said, "Ah, give us a look, Jordan, please." The boy lifted the lid or light of a box in his arms, and the people around him shrieked and yelled as something inside comes out out a long hair leg. Harry pressed on through the crowd until he found an empty compartment near the end of the train. He put Hedwig inside first and then started to shove and heave his trunk towards the train door. He tried to lift it up the steps but could hardly raise one end, and twice he dropped it painfully on his foot. "Want a hand?" It was one of the red-haired twins he had followed through the ticket box. "Yes, please," Harry panted. Oh, Fred, hey, come here and help." With the twins' help, Harry's trunk was at last tucked away in a corner of the compartment. "Thanks," said Harry, pushing his sweetie hair out of his eyes. "What's that?" said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry's lightning scar. "Blimey," said the other twins. "Are you?" "He is," said the first twin. "Aren't you?" He added to Harry. "What?" said Harry. And curiosity, and both of the twins said together, "Harry Potter." "Oh, him," said Harry. "I mean, yes, I am." The two boys grabbed at him, and Harry felt himself going red. Then, to his relief, a voice came floating in through the train's open door. "Fred, George, are you there?" "Coming, Mom." With a last look at Harry, the twins hopped off the train. Harry sat down next to the window where, half hidden, he could watch the red-haired family on the platform and hear what they were saying. Their mother had just taken out her handkerchief. "Ron, you have got something on your nose." The youngest boy tried to jerk out of the way, but she grabbed him and began rubbing the end of his nose. Mom, get off. He wriggled free. "Ah, has Eagle Ronnie got something on his nose?" said one of the twins. "Ah, shut up," said Ron. "Where's Percy?" said their mother. "He's coming now." The oldest boy came, striding into Zion. He had already changed into his billowing black Hogwarts robes, and Harry noticed a shiny red and gold badge on his chest with the letter P on it. "Can't stay long, Mother. I'm up front. The prefects have got 2 compartments to themselves." "Oh, are you a prefect, Percy? Are you a prefect, Percy?" said one of the twins with an air of great surprise. You should have said something. You should have said something. We had no idea." "Ah, hang on. I think I remember him saying something about it," said the other twins. "Once," the fourth one, "or twice," the other one, "a minute," and the next one, "all summer." "Ah, shut up," said Percy, the prefect. So Percy goes to his compartment, and the mother turns around to the twins. "Now, you two, this year, you behave yourself. If I get one more owl telling me you have blown up a toilet, or..." "Blown up a toilet? You have never blown up a toilet," said the first twin. "Great idea, thanks, Mom," said the other one. "It's not funny. And look after Ron," said the mother. "Don't worry, Eagle Ronnykins is safe with us." "Ah, shut up," said Ron again. He was almost as tall as the twins already, and his nose was still pink where his mother had rubbed it. "Hey, Mom, guess what? Guess who we just met on the train?" Harry leaned back quickly so they couldn't see him looking. "You know that black-haired boy who was near us in the station? Know who he is?" "Who?" asked the mother. "Harry Potter." Harry heard the little girl's voice. "Oh, Mom, can I go on the train and see him, Mom? Oh, please." "You have already seen him, Ginny, and the poor boy isn't something you Google at in a zoo. Is he really, Fred?" "How do you know? Ask him. Saw his scar. It's really there, like lightning." "Oh, poor dear. No wonder he was alone." I wondered. "He was ever so polite when he asked how to get on to the platform." And the twin said, "Never mind that. Do you think he remembers who know you looks like?" Their mother suddenly became very stern. "I forbid you to ask him, Fred. No, don't you dare. I thought he needs reminding of that on his first day at school." "Ah, all right, keep your hair on," said the twin. A whistle sounded. "Hurry up," their mother said, and the 3 boys clambered on to the train. They leaned out of the window for her to kiss them goodbye, and their youngest sister began to cry. And one twin said, "Ah, don't, Ginny. We will send you a load of owls." The other one said, "We will send you a Hogwarts toilet seat." And the mother said, "George!" And the twin said, "Only joke, Mom." The train began to move. Harry saw the boys' mother waving and their sister, half laughing, half crying, running to keep up with the train until it gathered too much speed. Then she fell back and waved. Harry watched the girl and her mother disappeared as the train rounded the corner. Houses flashed past the window. Harry felt a great leap of excitement. He didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. The door opens again. The red boy comes. "Anyone sitting here?" he asked, pointing at the seat opposite Harry. Everywhere else is full. Harry shook his head, and the boy sat down. He glanced at Harry and then looked quickly out of the window, pretending he hadn't looked. Harry saw he still had a black mark on his nose. The door opens again. Hey, Ron! The twins were back. Listen, we are going down the middle of the train. The Jordans got a giant tarantula down here. All right, murmured Ron. And Harry, said the other twin, did we introduce ourselves? Fred and George Weasley. And this is Ron, our brother. See you later, then. Harry and Ron said together, bye. So. Oh, maybe it falls. I make it here. So, Ron. Harry. Ron. I hope it keeps. I sit down. So. Are you really Harry Potter? Ron blurted out. Harry nodded. Oh, well, I thought it might be one of Fred and George's jokes, said Ron. And have you really got, you know? He pointed at Harry's forehead. Harry pulled back his fringe to show the lightning scar. What's that? Oh, that's where you know who? Yes, said Harry, but I can't remember it. Nothing, said Ron urgently. Well, I remember a lot of green lights, but nothing else. Wow, said Ron. He sat and stared at Harry for a few minutes. Then, as though he had suddenly realized what he was doing, he looked quickly out of the window again. Are all your family wizards? Asked Harry, who found Ron just as interesting as Ron found him. Yes, I think so, said Ron. I think Mom's got a second cousin who's an accountant, but we never talk about him. And Harry, so you must know lots of magic already. The Weasleys were clearly one of those old visiting families the pale boy in Diagon Alley had talked about. And Ron said, I heard you went to live with muggles. What are they like? Oh, horrible, said Harry. Well, not all of them. My aunt and uncle and cousin are, though. Also, wish I would had 3 wizard brothers. 5, said Ron. For some reason he was looking gloomy. I'm the 6th in our family to go to Hogwarts. You could say I've got a lot to live up to. Bill and Charlie have already left. Bill was heat boy and Charlie was captain of Quidditch. Now Percy's a prefect. Fred and George mess around a lot, but they still get really good marks and everyone thinks they are really funny. Everyone expects me to do as well as the others, but if I do, it's not a big deal because they did it first. You never get anything new, either with 5 brothers. I've got Bill's old robes, Charlie's old wand, and Percy's old rat. Ron reached inside his jacket and pulled out a fat grey rat, which was asleep. So, in Germany, I don't find the word. It's Scrubbers, yeah. Grätze. Germany is Grätze. His name is Scrubbers, said Ron, and he's useless. He hardly ever wakes up. Percy got an owl from my dad for being made a prefect, but they couldn't have. I got Scrubbers instead. Ron's ears went pink. He seemed to think he'd said too much because he went back to staring out of the window. Harry didn't think there was anything wrong with not being able to afford an owl, but After all, he had never had any money in his life until a month ago, and he told Ron so, all about having to wear Dudley's old clothes and never getting brother birthday presents. This seemed to cheer Ron a bit up. And until Hackett told me I didn't know anything about being a wizard or about my parents or Voldemort. Ron gasped. What? Said Harry. You said you know whose name, said Ron, sounding both shocked and impressed. I had, I had have thought, Ron said, I had have thought you all, of all people, and Harry, I'm not trying to be brave or anything, saying the name. I just never knew you shouldn't. See what I mean? Oh, I've got lots to learn. I bet, he added, voicing for the first time something that had been worrying him a lot lately. I bet I'm the worst in the class. Or you won't be. There's loads of people who came from Muggles families, and they learn quick enough, said Ron. While they had been talking, the train had carried them out of London. Now they were speeding past fields full of cows and sheep. They were quiet for a time, watching the fields and lanes flick past. Around 12:30, there was a great clattering outside in the corridor, and a smiling, dimpled woman back, slid back their door and said, "Anything of the trolleys, dears?" Mm. Harry, who hadn't had any breakfast, leaped to his feet, but Ron's ears went pink again, and he muttered that he'd brought sandwich. Harry went out into the corridor. He had never had any money for sweets with the Dursleys, and now that he had pockets rattling with gold and silver, he was ready to buy as many Mars bars as he could carry. But the woman didn't have Mars bars. What she did have were birdie boats with flower beads, double best, doubles best blowing gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pasties, cotton cakes, licorice vans, and a number of other strange things Harry had never seen in his life. Not wanting to miss anything, he got some of everything and paid the woman 11 silver sickles and 7 bronze nuts. Ron stared as Harry brought it all back into the compartment and tipped it on to an empty seat. Hungry, are you? Asked Ron. Starving, said Harry, taking a large bite of a pumpkin pasty. Ron had taken out a lumpy package and unwrapped it. There were 4 sandwiches in there. He pulled one of them apart and said, she always forget I don't like corned beef. Swap for one of these, said Harry, holding up a pasty. Go on. You don't want this. It's all dry, said Ron. She hasn't got much time, he added quickly. With 5 of us. Go on, have a pasty, said Harry, who had never had anything to share before. Indeed, anyone to share with it. It was a nice feeling, sitting there with Ron, eating their way through all Harry's pasties and cakes. The sandwich lay forgotten. What are these? Harry asked Ron, holding up a pack of chocolate frogs. They are not really frogs, are they? He was starting to feel that nothing would surprise him. No, said Ron, but see what the cards is. I'm missing a grieber. What? Of course you wouldn't know. Chocolate frogs have cards inside them. To collect famous witches and wizards. I have got about 500, but I haven't got a Grieber or Ptolemy oder so. Harry ungrabbed his chocolate frog and picked up the card. Uh-oh. So, I must say it again. Hagrid unwrapped his chocolate frog and picked up the card. It showed a man's face. He wore half-moon glasses, had a long crooked nose and flowing silver hair, beard and moustache. Underneath the picture was the name Albus Dumbledore. I made some by myself. Yeah. I hold it. So, this is Dumbledore, said Harry. Oh, don't tell me you had never heard of Dumbledore, said Ron. Can I have a frog? I might get a Grieber, said Ron, added Ron. Thanks. Harry turned over his card and read. Albus Dumbledore, Headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and tenpin bowling. So, my Dumbledore. It's a present, birthday present from a girlfriend. And it looks so wonderful. So, Kratze, Scrabble. Harry turned the card back over and saw that his astonishment that Dumbledore's face had disappeared. He's gone. Well, you can't expect him to hang around all day, said Ron. He will be back. Oh no, I've got Morgana again, and I've got about 6 of her. Do you want it? You can start collecting. Ron's eyes strayed to the pile of chocolate frogs waiting to be unwrapped. Help yourself, said Harry. But in, the muggle world, people just stay put in photos. Do they? What? They don't move at all? Ron sounded amazed. Now it's a difficult word. Wordy or word. Harry started as Dumbledore sidled back into the picture on his card and gave him a small smile. Ron was more interested in eating the frogs than looking at the famous witches and wizards cards, but Harry couldn't keep his eyes off them. Soon he had not only Dumbledore and Morgana, but hangings of Woodcroft, Alberic, Crunion, Circe, Parcelius, and Merlin. He finally tore his eyes away from the Trides Gludiona, who was scratching her nose to open a bag of Bertie Bott's every flower beans. You want to be careful with those, Ron warned Harry. When they say every flavor, they mean every flavor. You get all the ordinary ones like chocolate and peppermint and marmalade, but then you can get spinach and liver and tripe. George recalls he had a bouquet flavored one once. One picked up a green bean, looked at it carefully and bit it corner. Ugh, see? Sprouts. They had a good time eating every flavor beans. Harry got toast, coconut, baked bean, strawberry, curry, grass, coffee, sardine, and was even brave enough to nibble the end of a funny grey one-run wood touch, which turned out to be pepper. So, and now. They drive and drove and eat and eat. So we do also now. So I make a break here, just a pause, and eat my favorite cake. See you. So, was good. I don't know what's a drink from the pub in Hogsmeade, how it calls. In Germany, it's called butterbeer. I think butterbeer. I don't know. So I will be surprised. There was a knock on the door of the compartment, and the round-faces boy Harry had passed on the platform came in. He looked tearful. Sorry, he said, but have you seen a toad at all? When they shook their head, he wailed, I have lost him. He keeps getting away from me. He will turn up, said Harry. Yes, said the yes, said the boy miserably. Well, if you see him, he laughed. And now, Neville. Don't know why he's so bothered, said Ron. If I had brought a toad, I had lose it as quick as I could. Mind you, I brought scabbers, so I can't talk. The rat was still snoozed in Ron's lap. He might have died and you wouldn't know the difference, said Ron in disgust. I tried to turn him yellow yesterday to make him more interesting, but the spell didn't work. I'll show you. Look. He rummaged around in his trunk and pulled out a very battered looking wand. It was chipped in places and something white was glinting at the end. So take his red here. So I raise it a bit. So, and he said to Harry, unicorn hairs nearly poking out. Anyway, he had just raised his hand when the compartment door slid open again. The toadless boy was back, but this time he had a girl with him. She was already wearing her new Hogwarts robes. Has anyone seen a toad? Neville's lost one, she said. She had a busy sort of voice, lots of bushy brown hair and razor large front teeth. We have already told him we haven't seen it, said Ron. But the girl wasn't listening. She was looking at the wand in his hand. Oh, are you doing magic? Let's see it then. She sat down. Ron looked taken aback. All right. He cleared his throat. Sunshine daisies, buttermellow, turn this stupid fat red yellow. He waved his wand, but nothing happened. Scabbers stayed grey as fast asleep. Are you sure that's a real spell? Said the girl. Well, it's not very good, is it? I've tried a few simple spells just for practice, and it's all worked for me. Nobody in my family's magic at all. It was ever such a surprise when I got my letter, but I was ever so pleased, of course. I mean, it's the very best school of witchcraft there is. I've learned all our set books off by my heart, of course. I just hope it will be enough. I'm Hermione Granger. By the way, who are you? In German, it's Hermine. I will sometimes will say Hermine or Hermione. She said all this very fast. Harry looked at Ron and was relieved to see by his stout face that he hadn't learned all the set books off by heart either. I'm Ron Weasley, Ron muttered. And Harry said, Harry Potter. Oh, are you really? Said Hermione. I know all about you, of course. I got a few extra books for background reading, and you're in modern magic history and the rise or fall of the dark arts and great wizarding events of the 20th century. Am I? said Harry, feeling dazed. Dazed? Goodness, didn't you know? I had found out everything I could if it was me, said Hermione. Do either of you know what house you will be in? I've been asking around and I hope I'm in Gryffindor. It sounds by far the best. I hear Dumbledore himself was one, but I suppose Ravenclaw wouldn't be too bad. Anyway, sorry, I must take a look. Who said it? Oh. Anyway, we had better go and look for Neville's toad. You two had better change. You know, I expect we'll be there soon. And she left, taking the toadless boy with her. So, Hermine. Hermine comes on the stage. And Neville. We put Neville together to them. So, whatever house I'm in, I hope she's not in it, said Ron. He threw his wand back into his trunk. Stupid spell. George gave it to me. Bet he knew it was a dud. What house are your brothers in? Asked Harry. Gryffindor, said Ron. Gloom seemed to be settling on him again. Mom and Dad were in it too. I don't know what they will say if I'm not. I don't suppose Ravenclaw would be too bad, but imagine if they put me in Slytherin. That's a house Vold, you know who was in. Yes, said Ron. He flopped back into his seat, looking depressed. You know, said Harry, I think the end of the Scrabber's whiskers are a bit lighter. And he tried to take Ron's mind off houses. So, what do your oldest brother do now? They left. Anyway, so I jump over the talk about Ron's brothers. And then the door opens again. 3 boys entered and Harry recognized the middle one. At once it was the pale boy from Madame Malkin's robe shop. He was looking at Harry with a lot more interest than he had shown back in Diagon Alley. Ah, it's true, he said. They are saying all down the train that Harry Potter is that Harry Potter's in this compartment. So it's you, is it? Yes, said Harry. He was looking at the other boys. Both of them were sixth and looked extremely mean. Standing either side of the pale boy, they looked like bodyguards. Oh, this is Crab and this is Goyle, said the pale boy, carelessly, noticing where Harry was looking. And my name's Malfoy, Draco Malfoy. Ron gave a slight cough, which might have been hitting a snigger. Draco Malfoy looked at him. Think my name's funny, do you? No need to ask who you are. My father told me all the Weasleys have red hair, freckles, and more children than they can afford. He turned back to Harry. You will soon find out some visiting families are much better than others, Potter. You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort. I can help you there. He held out his hand to shake Harry's, but Harry didn't take it. I think I can tell who the wrong sort are for me myself. Thanks, said Harry, coolly. Draco Malfoy didn't go red, but a pink tink appeared in his paychecks. I had be careful if I were you, Potter, he said slowly. Unless you are a bit politer, you will go the same way as your parents. They didn't know what was good for them either. You hang around with riffraff like the Weasleys and that Hagrid, and it will rub off on you. Both Harry and Ron stood up. Ron's face was as red as his hair. Say that again, he said. Oh, you're going to fight us, are you? Malfoy sneered. Unless you get out now, said Harry, more bravely than he felt, because Crabbe and Goyle were a lot bigger than him or Ron. But we don't feel like leaving, do we, boys? We have eaten all our food and you still seem to have some. Goyle reached toward the chocolate frogs next to Ron, and Ron leaped forward, but before he had so much as touched Goyle, Goyle let out a horrible yell. Scabbers, the rat, was hanging off his finger, sharp little teeth sunk deep into Goyle's knuckles. Grab and Malfoy backed away as Goyle swung Grabbers around and around, rolling, and when Scabbers finally flew off and hit the window, all three of them disappeared at once. Perhaps they thought there were more rats lurking among the sweets, or perhaps they had heard footsteps, because a second later Hermione Granger had come in. What was been going on? Or what has been going on? She said, looking at the sweets all over the floor, and Ron picked up Scabbers by his tail. I think he's been knocking out, Ron said to Harry. He looked closer at Scabbers. Oh no, I don't believe it. He's gone back to sleep. And so he had. You have met Malfoy before? Asked Ron Harry, and Harry explained about their meeting in Diagon Alley. I have heard of this family, said Ron darkly. They were some of the first to come back to our side after you know who disappeared. Said they had been bewitched. My dad doesn't believe it. He says Malfoy's father didn't need an excuse to over to the dark side. He turned to Hermione. Can we help you with something? You would be better hurry up and put your ropes on. I have just been up at the front to ask the driver, and he says we are nearly there. You haven't been fighting, have you? You'll be in trouble before we even get there. Scabbers was been fighting, not us, said Ron, scowling at her. Would you mind leaving while we change? All right, I only came in here because people outside are behaving very childishly, racing up and down the corridors, said Hermione in a sniffy voice. And you have got the dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know? Ron glared at her as she left. Harry peered out of the window. It was getting dark. So, now, they are in the station in Hogwarts. The train stopped. The doors goes open. Everyone goes out. And Harry hear a voice. And this is my favorite scene for every book, and I love it. And I'm always, when I start a book, always waiting for this part. Yeah, a voice echoed through the train. All right, sorry. Mm-hmm. So, Harry shivered in the cold night air. Huh? Then a lamp come bobbing over the heads of the students, and Harry heard a familiar voice. First years, over here. All right, Harry. All right there, Harry. Hagrid's big hair face beamed over the sea of heat. Come on, follow me. Any more first years? Mind your step. Now, first years, follow me. So I stop now. So Hagrid's bit, slipping and stumbling, they followed Hagrid down what seemed to be a steep, narrow path. It was so dark either side of them that Harry thought there must be thick trees there. Nobody spoke much. Neville, the boy who kept losing his toad, sniffed once or twice. You will get your first sign of Hogwarts in a second, Hagrid called over his shoulder. Just round this bend here. There was a loud "oh." The narrow path had opened suddenly on the edge of a great black lake. Perched atop a high mountain on the other side, its windows sparkling in the starry sky, was a vast castle with many turrets and towers. No more, no more for to a boat, Haggard called, pointing to a fleet of little boats sitting in the water by the shore. Harry and Ron were followed into their boats by Neville and Hermione. Everyone in, shouted Haggard, who had a boat to himself. Right then, forward! And the fleet of little boats moved off all at once, gliding across the lake, which was as smooth as glass. Everyone was silent, staring up the great castle overhead. It towered over them as they sailed nearer and nearer to the cliff on which it stood. Heads down! Yelled Hagrid as the first boats reached the cliff. They all bent their heads, and the little boats carried them through a curtain of ivy which hid a wide opening in the cliff face. They were carried along a dark tunnel, which seemed to be taking them right underneath the castle, until they reached a kind of underground haven where they clambered out onto rocks and pebbles. "Oh, you there! Is this your toad?" said Haggard, who was checking the boats as people climbing out of them. "Trevor!" cried Neville blissfully, holding out his hands. Then they clambered up a passageway in the rock after Hagrid's lamp, coming out at last onto smooth, damp grass right in the shadow of the castle. They walked up a flight of stone steps and crowed around the oak front door. "Everyone here? You there, still got your toad?" Haggard raised a gigantic fist and knocked 3 times on the castle door. Bang, bang, bang. Oder knock, knock, knock. So, now we are in Hogwarts. So, I think I read more and more. Yeah, I need a bit of happiness. Okay, our team here. Yeah, Neville's, in the moment in this book, just Hermine, Ron und Neville, oder Hermione, Ron und Harry. This comes later. Neville comes later. And I have also Luna and Ginny, and I'm finding other ones. Okay, bye. So, we're in Hogwarts. Ciao. See us in Hogwarts. Ciao.